Pick this up with our next guest, Major Mohammed Ali Shah, on the broadcast with us. Major Shah, I began this telecast now 50 minutes ago by pointing out that the nation state, the modern nation state, is a very young concept in the history of the world. In our particular example, it dates back only 80 years. Religion, many religions, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all precede the concept of a nation state. All religions try to give us a code of ethics, morality, right, wrong. Some do it through commandments, some do it through laws, some do it through books. Now, when we are living in a modern nation state, and we have to now find that point of meeting between tradition, culture, practice of religion and the laws of a modern nation state, how do we take a step closer, sir?
Okay, Rishabh, that's a very good question. Firstly, I think the Muslim community has to be prepared for certain reforms. Reforms are very, very essential to move forward. We cannot have what we were living as early man earlier. We can't have it today as well. Like, for example, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he abolished sati. It was a reform which was made in the Hindu community. Similarly, there are a lot of reforms which have to be made in the Muslim community as well. And I welcome the Uniform Civil Code. I think you cannot have different laws for different people who reside in the same country. Now, having said that, I would like to tell you a bit about the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Firstly, as you rightly mentioned, they have no legal powers. It's an NGO. It was founded in early 1970s. In fact, in 1972, 73, in fact, by Muhammad Tayyib Kazmi and Midatullah Rahmani in Hyderabad. Now, the very fact, as you rightly brought out, once again, they have 51 ulemas in their body, and they have 201% of ulema as well as 25 women in them. And their prime concern, their prime responsibility is looking after marriage, divorce, inheritance, and such kind of laws, which would be redundant if UCC comes in. So it would be that's their prime concern. And the board consists of members such as scholars, legal experts, representatives of various Islamic organizations across India, in fact. So all that will be null and void once the UCC comes across, because when the UCC comes in, it will be, okay, you are governed by these laws, not by these laws, right? Because that's the Islamic law is Sharia law. Now, I'll equate it quickly, parallelly. I'll give an analogy over there, Rishabh. The very fact is that, when my father was the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, he inducted a bridge course over there. Bridge course was what? It was bridging the gap between the madrasa education and modern education, which means now the madrasa students would learn English, computers, math, science, deen ki padhai nahi, dunyadari ki bhi padhai. But which was opposed by who? By the Maulanas. Why? Why was it opposed? It was opposed because when the Maulanas found that, okay, the bridge course, a person would be willing to, he would probably be a doctor, engineer, he would earn. Earlier, he would live off zakat. Now he would be in a position to give more zakat than he would earn. So it was opposed, because then the value of the Maulanas there would depreciate. Similarly, now with all respect to All India Muslim Personal Law Board, I would not give a harsh statement by abolishing it. No, by the very fact, when we get UCC, I welcome UCC, and I think the Muslim community should not see it like a religious angle. They should see it as a reform. In fact, there are 30 tribes as well, including the Adivasi tribe, the famous Adivasi tribe, who have opposed it. In fact, I don't think UCC is something to oppose. It's something to actually have the same laws.
No, like but there's an issue. No, the issue which I'm trying to address here, and the reason I'm having this conversation, it's a lengthy conversation with a group of individuals, Major, is that, as I've just mentioned, the assumption has been made in government, which is the executive, the legislature, many times in the judiciary, where the All India Muslim Personal Law Board or its members form subcommittees and implead themselves into the case. And even in the media, that a certain group of these 50, 60, 70, 100, 200 individuals, of which only 4 or 5 call the shots, we know who the 4 or 5 are, that these are the representatives of the voice of the Muslim community in India, when that is not true. So now, do these individuals have a conflict of interest when they are called to discuss on the table, or when they are called on media panels, because their power and authority seems to stem from the belief that they get to decide what happens in your divorce or in your marriage. And when we tell them, no, you don't decide, the courts decide, why would they be wanting to abrogate those powers?
Right, absolutely. You have a point of that, exactly. Because when they feel that the court decides, people don't decide, their powers would obviously diminish. And that's the reason why the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, they oppose the UCC. Because then it's like, it is like having, again, I want everyone to understand an analogy where I have certain powers. If someone comes and undermines my power, I may not like it. So that is the reason why they were liking it. But if you talk about progressiveness, if you talk about reform, if you talk about equal right for women, if you talk about women empowerment, I think a reform is very much essential, and I think UCC must not be opposed.
So then the next obvious question, sir, why has the reform not come from within? You've had the Shah Bano was mentioned, Nida was sitting with us, she was a pioneer of the triple talaq fight, many others, we profiled here on NewsX who have suffered, which means their families have suffered. Mothers, sisters, brothers have seen the plight and they've suffered. They've suffered financially, mentally, and otherwise. Some are, have fatwas against them, religious excommunication. Some, of course, have to fear physical harm. For some reason, because the reform has not come, therefore, a feeling comes that it is being imposed, and I can understand where that feeling comes from. Ideally, the reform should come from within, and we can have a much more calm, happier, progressive, practical conversation. But whenever something feels imposed, even though it might be good or bad, it feels like it's coming from without. So how can we encourage the reform from within, sir?
Right. Sorry, Rishabh, I'm so sorry. Extremely sorry about that. Now, the fact is, Rishabh, I feel the society will not change unless and until we change our own selves. The change starts from here, from within. And now when we have people like Tara Hassan, we have Rozbak Ahmad, we have a voice when Muhammad Ali Shah, you have got the Muslim voices. And I think we are saying the UCC we cannot have different rules for different people. Suppose you have an office in Okla and you reside in Okla and I reside in Gurgaon. You cannot give me the laxity of coming an hour late because I stay 2 hours away. I have to punch and I have to log in at the same time when everyone else does. So we can't have different laws for different people in the same place. Similarly, now when we talk about the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, well, I'll be very, very honest with you. You asked a question to one of the panelists, how many people do you know who have consulted the All India Muslim Personal Law Board? Frankly speaking, if I have to ask that, I don't know anyone. And I did not know much about this body as well. I'll confess that as well. I did not know much about that body. Only when I had to study it. And when I studied it, I got this data, this information from there.
Yeah, but morning, evening, night, they're sitting on television. They're being asked for advice from government. They sit in the committees, they argue and become implemented parties in all the important court cases. So this is what I'm finding strange, that an organization which is extremely patriarchal, it's dominated by the men, okay? You'll find it very difficult to hear a woman voice in the All India Muslim Personal Law Board speaking on any matter. They do have some members. Do you know any? Who are the members?
No, I don't know any.
Yeah, so I'm asking the public, can you think of any woman member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board? The answer will be no. My thanks to the Major.